What's up everybody, Craig here, and as you can see, here's my Radeon RX 480. I have my 980 Ti back in my computer, so I went into this kind of, with the idea of if everything worked correctly, I was going to run dual RX 480s in Crossfire, not necessarily on Mac, but when I boot up into Windows, dual RX 480s in Crossfire are as equivalent to about a GTX 1080 and about $150 less. So I was kind of thinking I was going that way, but I got some good news and bad news. The good news is that we got it working. So everything was working and we got full hardware acceleration and all that stuff. The bad news is there was a couple caveats. The first being that you have to tell your BIOS to boot integrated graphics, and that's only because these are in the new MacBook Pros and stuff like that, so it's written in Apple's code. So you tell your BIOS to boot integrated graphics, but then when you boot up into Mac, it realizes you have an RX 480 and then gives you full hardware acceleration to your graphics card. And because of that, you're kind of flying blind at the Clover screen. So I didn't like that too much. But other than that, those are only a few caveats. Once you get into Mac, everything works great. And I did a quick way of doing this and a long way of doing this. So if you follow my quick way and everything works, congratulations. But if you follow the quick way and it doesn't work, then you can go into the long way. I'll show you exactly how I did it, and you can follow along that way. Remember, with our AMD card, AMD uses OpenCL and not CUDA like NVIDIA, and so AMD cards are the only cards that have hardware acceleration in Final Cut. So I did a test where I rendered a video in Final Cut, and it actually rendered a little faster than when my 980 Ti is in there, and that's only because when the 980 Ti is in there, it doesn't have hardware acceleration, so that's my CPU doing all the work. So that's it. Just follow along and let me know what you think, and hopefully this works for you.
Alright, what's up everybody? So if you arrived to this video, then either the easy way didn't work for you for getting the RX 480 to work, or you just want to see how I did it. In which case, here we are, and you see that the RX 480 tutorial folder right here, that's this one, it's going to be shared out as well, even though there's not going to be too much dragging and dropping, especially the EFI partition. You're still going to need the tools, you're still going to need the kex to patch and stuff like that. But I'll show you how to do all that. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and go into the hard way of doing this and how I did it. And I'm going to do it from scratch too. So basically, you're going to open this. This was a thread that helped me a lot right here, so you can go to that, and then I took this thread and some stuff I saw, some videos, some stuff I learned, and then I broke it down into these steps, step by step. I know it looks like a lot, but I'll get through it and I'll explain, especially this code here. This code is actually written to give you all of your cores. If you were to just do the install, now my easy way is good to go. You can follow that easy way and it already has the code in it. But if you were to just do an install like some of the videos were showing and stuff like that, it would only give you half your cores. This way is going to give you all of your cores. So let's get started. First things first, we need to see hidden files. And the way to do that is we're going to open this text document I got here. And we're going to highlight this defaults right, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Copy. We're going to go to Spotlight. We're going to type in terminal. And then we're going to hit Command V. Enter. That's Command Victor. And then anytime you do that, you need to follow it directly with a kill all finder. And I got it right there. And then enter. And then you see everything just flashed. And now we can see hidden files. And I have kill all finder right here. It needs to be written exactly like that. All lowercase kill all and then space capital F finder. So it needs to be written like that. But again, you can just copy and paste it. And what the fuck, man? What happened here? I don't know, but we're going to Command Z it. There we go. Alright. Yeah, because I'm going to share this puppy out, so we need to not mess that up. Okay. Alright, so now that that's done, we can see hidden files. So I'm going to click on the desktop. That way you see Finder right here. Okay, like if we were on, I don't know, something, notes, whatever, it would show notes right here. But click on the desktop, it'll show Finder. You go to Preferences, and then you're going to go to Hard Disk. Okay, your hard disk is going to pop up on your desktop. You're going to open that up. and you're going to see system. You wouldn't normally see system, but you see it now because we showed the hidden files. You get into system, you go to library, you go to extensions, and then I'm going to sort the extensions by name. That way I can find things easier. Okay, I'm going to go down to AMD Radeon X 4100. This is the text we want, okay? So we're going to copy it. So I'm going to hit the Alt Option button, and then I'm going to drag it to the desktop. And there it is. And we don't need that no more. Okay, now we're going to right click on this and hit Show Package Content. And there it is. Okay, we're going to go to Contents. And your info.plist, you're going to right click on that. You're going to open with Other. And you're going to go down to Text Edit. And then you're going to go down, and here in this it'll tell you, it'll say find this string, this IOPCI match. You're going to look for all these strings that look like this. Now, obviously, so this has it. What it's going to look like is this. It's going to look like this. This is what you are going to be looking at, okay? Mine obviously is working, so it had that in there. But at the beginning of this string, and it's got to be in between the string, you're going to type 0x67DF1002 space. Okay, there's got to be a space between each of these, okay? After that, you're going to hit File and then Save. Okay. Okay, and after that, you're going to close out of that. And then we're going to open Kex Utility. Type in your password. And then you're going to wait till it does its thing. It's going to take a minute. Now, if you get an SSD, it'll probably be faster. But this is just a test drive that I'm using, so it'll take a little longer. Okay, with Kex Utility, after you see it says, all done, have a nice day, enjoy, all that good stuff. Then you can go ahead and drag your Kext into it. Where it says drag files on the window to process them. Now, you can drag any Kex you want in there to process, but for the purpose of this video, and I'll have these in the folder if you want to put anything else in there, but for the purpose of this video, we're just worried about the RX 480. So this Kex that we have altered and added in the RX 480's ID, we're going to go ahead and drag this one in. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to patch it in where we just got it from, where it's supposed to be. If we were to just drag it back in there, there could be errors, but as you can see, this thing does a little maintenance to it. And then it'll say, okay, good to go, have a nice day, and then you can quit out of that. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of this Kex just for now. Okay, now go ahead and open Clover Configurator. Okay, we're going to mount our EFI partition. Mount, open. Alright, so don't worry about these. These are hidden files. You're not supposed to see them anyway. But so if this is you and you might want this, these settings that you used to have back in the day or whatever, go ahead and hold the Alt Option button and then drag it to the desktop. But I told you I was going to do this from scratch, so I'm going to drag it in here. Now, if you didn't run multi-beast yet, then you don't have anything in there, and that's fine. So I'm going to empty that trash. Okay, so that EFI partition is gone. So what I want you to do right now is, so after you've copied it to your desktop, you've backed it up, whatever, you're going to eject your EFI partition. Or unmount, same thing. And when it goes bye-bye, then we can do multi-beast. Anytime now. There we go. Okay, now we can do multi-beast. So here, we'll get out of Clover Configurator for now. Let's open up multi-beast. And so multi-beast, I'm going to click UEFI boot mode. For the drivers, I want, yeah, you know what? I want to click that just in case. So I want 100 series audio, and that's just me particular. I already have network, but I'm gonna click this anyway. Saw somebody had clicked that. Maybe it's important. I don't know. I'm going to inject ATI because we're going to need that later. And then for system definitions, you're going to click iMac 17.1, and then we're going to build. And make sure it goes to your actual Hackintosh drive. Agree. Put in your password. So what MultiBeast is doing right now is it's putting, see how it just mounted that EFI partition? It's putting that folder back on there with kind of like all a packaged folder with goods kind of thing, and making sure you can boot up and everything's good to go. Because if you didn't have that folder in that EFI partition and you tried to boot up, it wouldn't boot. You'd need your USB to boot. So this is making sure you can boot, everything's good. And then it's going to have an important file in there called config.plist, and that's important. Alright, so MultiBeast is done. I'm going to go ahead and hit Command Q to get out of there. And so if we go, and it should have already mounted your EFI partition. If not, go ahead and open Clover Configurator and mount it again. But it's mounted, so I'm going to open it, and look, there's that EFI partition again. So we're going to go to that, and we're going to go to Clover, and then we're going to right click and open with Clover Configurator. Okay? So we're in Clover Configurator now. So now I got to bring this up so I remember everything. So if you go to that file that I gave you called RX480 tutorial, it has all the settings that need to happen. So under ACPI, we need to click Fix Display. And yep, that's it for that. And let's go ahead and go down to Boot. And we're going to go to Dark Wake equals 8. We're going to take off Dark. We're going to take that off. We're going to change the timeout to 2. We are going to, is that it? Let's see, where are we at here? Darkwave 2. Okay, so this should be named your hard drive, and it is. That's what my hard drive is named, but if you have any questions, just double check. It should already be set correctly, but if you got any questions, you can just always open Disk Utility, and there's my actual physical hard drive, and there's the partition that is Hackintosh, and if you see that name matches directly up with that, so we're good to go there. So that's it. Default, yeah, okay, we're good. So let's go ahead and go on to devices. Okay, so this is important. So fake ID under ATI. Now, if you remember from what we typed in that text when we altered that info.plist, we typed in 0x67 df1002. So let me make sure it's right here. 0x67df1002. Yeah, so that's right. So basically now what this is doing is pointing and saying, hey, we added in the code RX480, and now this is pointing to that. So that's what we want to do. So that's it there. Okay. Now let's go down to graphics. Okay. We're gonna check inject EDID. We're gonna, this needs to be off. We're gonna check patch vBIOS, and then inject ATI. We already had that when we selected in MultiBeast. And then right here needs to be 0x1912, and make sure we got everything there. Oh yeah, FB name needs to be capital DAYMAN, Dayman. See, my name's Wayman, and this is Dayman, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, so all right, looks like we got everything there. Now let's go to kernels and kex patches. Okay, and we're gonna go all the way down to force kex to load, and then hit add. And then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to select, you got to have that slash in there. Come on, there it is. Alright, copy, and then paste, and then enter, and then add, and then the next one too. Remember to get that slash in there all the way to the T, and then copy, and then paste, and then enter. Alright, so we're not done yet. So we're good. Go ahead and hit file and then save. Okay, so we're not done yet. So basically, if you read what this said, so whoever this guy is right here wrote some code. And if you were to just do a normal install, half of your cores would work for the RX 480. But in order to get full acceleration and all cores used, you have to have this code. And basically what this is saying is you got to open your config.plist in a text editor, and then you're going to find this key, kex to patch key, and then after array, that's when this code is going to occur. So let's go ahead and instead of opening with Clover Configurator, you're going to right click on your config.plist, open with other, all the way down to text edit, double click, and then I'm going to make this bigger. So now we're going to go find, and it's down towards bottom, kex to patch. So let's go find it. Kernel kex to patch, so it's down in here somewhere, right there. Key kex to patch key array. So I put the cursor right after that arrow after the array, and then I hit enter once. And then I'm going to go grab all of this, starting from that beginning of that, all the way down to that. And then I'm going to copy. And then, just like I said, so actually, let's make sure we go back. Okay, so I hit enter, and now I'm going to hit command V, and then make sure it's, yeah, okay, there we go. And then, alright, it all fit. Okay, we're good. So file, and then save, and then we're good. When you do all your internal graphics settings and BIOS and all that stuff, you're going to have a display hooking from your HDMI in your motherboard or whatever, so you'll be able to see and make those corrections. And then when you reboot, you're going to need to shut down, and then you can go ahead and unplug from the motherboard. That's an important part. In order to power back up the internal graphics from your motherboard, whatever you have plugged in there, whether you got a VGA or a DVI or a HDMI, that needs to come out of your motherboard. And then you can go ahead and plug into your graphics card, your Radeon, and then you're going to be flying blind for a little bit. And when you're doing that, basically you're just giving your system enough time to boot up, and then it'll automatically default to your Mac hard drive, your Hackintosh, and then hit enter, and then it'll boot up. And you got to give it a second, but then you'll hear the graphics card go to full acceleration, and then you know you're good. All right, we're gonna get these BIOS settings right, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit F7, and then load optimize default, so you can see where it needs to be from scratch. So right off the bat, I'm gonna go to peripherals and go down to, and this is just my Hackintosh settings, so I'm gonna get that set correctly first. So I'm in peripherals, and then I go to here, hold on, let me go back there. Super IO configuration, I hit enter, and then serial port, I disabled that, and then USB configuration, also in peripherals, USB configuration, I'm going to go to XHCI handoff. I'm going to enable that. I'm going to go to chipset, and then virtualization VT-D. I'm going to disable that. I'm going to go down to IO APIC entries. I'm going to disable that. Now it's time for the RX 480 portion of it, which you would go, now on an Asus board it's different, it's like called the iGPU or whatever under advanced or something. I don't know, I don't have an Asus board, I have a Gigabyte board. Peripherals, and then initial display output, I'm going to put on IGFX, that's internal graphics, okay? So that's good to go. So that's set up for the RX 480, but right here on the chipset there needs to be memory right there. It's not there yet. I need to restart this, and since it's going off of integrated graphics, I now need to plug a HDMI cable into my motherboard, and then those two memory things that are going to be right there are going to pop up, and you'll see in a second. So I'm going to save and reset, and then plug my HDMI cable into my motherboard, and it's going to go off of internal graphics. Okay, so here's my TV.
Now we just restarted. Now remember what I was telling you about those two memory spots. So let's go ahead and go over to chipset, and there they are. So they need to be set to 128 apiece. So 128 and 128. So those are set there. And then I'm going to save and exit. Now what needs to happen is right when you see the gigabyte symbol, hit the power button on your computer to power down, because this needs to power down, and then you need to disconnect the cable out of the motherboard. So I'm going to save and exit. And then right when I see that gigabyte symbol, I need to hit power so it'll power down. Okay. Alright, you heard that thing just hiss? That means it hit full acceleration, and if you look right now, there is my lovely display.
We're rebooted and we're rocking and rolling with the RX 480. We're good to go, so sweet on that. And let's go ahead and get out of that. But we're not done yet. Let's go ahead and finish up and clean up. Remember, we're seeing hidden files right now. We want to get rid of that. So go ahead and go down to the bottom of that file. You're going to copy and then go to terminal, and then you're going to paste it, enter, followed by kill all finder, also in that file if you need it. And we can no longer see hidden files anymore. We can verify that if we go to Mac OS and we no longer see all those files, and especially the system file. We're good to go. We can take care of that. We can uncheck hard disk, and then we're good to go. So this was the hard way, or the long way, to do the install of the RX 480. I hope it worked for you. I took a lot of time on this sucker, so go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you think. If you didn't like it, tell me what you didn't like. Again, thanks for watching, and I appreciate everybody.